After pondering, meditating, chatting, graphing, talking it out, breathing it in, and ascending numerous planes of reality to listen closely to the heart of my YouTube channel, I am changing from a pure gaming channel to a variety channel. Yeah. Thank you to the people who reminded me over and over that you'd support me whatever I do. And to everyone else now feeling like maybe they've lost their obscure oddball lady talks about Metroidvania's channel, what you love is not actually going away. I'm doing this to nurture it, and to ensure that it lives a very long time. Please give me a moment to explain. When I began this channel 3 years ago, I had recently fallen into a toxic vat of Metroid games, and I arose as Mellovania. Thus goes our origin story. I was bit. I was changed. I knew that these games connected with me on a core soul level, and that this energy would run through my blood forever afterwards. My passion had begun to grow, and before I knew how big it would get, or how long it would take for that to mature, I built the shape of this channel around it, awaiting the big bloom to come someday. I knew this would be sick, and it has been, but I've been holding seeds, not plants or their flowers. It actually takes me a long time to process things. That's kind of why I play games in a weird order, and my top 10 lists are always like old games, and I get pulses on things like 7 months after they come out. I have to do things at my pace, otherwise I won't do them at all, I don't think. So I have all these games from these last couple years becoming a Metroidvania lover. I have all of these relatively new series that I have to digest, and I have all these solo games I want to replay and learn more about and build little stories around as I go. Because the process hadn't really started yet, I was early when I started this. Too early to really know what I could do for content. What I mean to say is, I felt that start of a grand Metroidvania research project. One that could grow so badass and so silly, crazy enough to fill up a whole channel, but what would that actually look like? A 100% Metroidvania channel? Would I make videos every single day? Would I come around once a year or once a season? Would I stream on weekends? What would I stream? I don't know. I didn't know. Aside from that, I didn't know how big of a garden I wanted to tend, or for how long. Now I can say that I really like having content creation as a hobby. It's been pretty easy to keep up with, even living in Japan. I want to keep tending something. I want to tend a channel, like a garden, and let it grow for a long time, and make it healthy and big, and let lots of folks like you guys come and, I don't know, be birds and enjoy it, or something like that. Maybe some of you are ants. I'm gonna make some of you have to be ants. But how is my fountain of passion for the Metroidvania genre doing these days? Well, you see, I was the clever fellow who said, I want to make a channel that is 100% Metroidvanias, and I want to still be passionate about said channel in like 10 years. That is about as much pressure as you could possibly put on a hobby, I think, aside from going professional or something. Considering my main special interests of anime, music, and games tend to swap main focuses every 4 or 5 years or so, it's a lot to even aim for 100% gaming as a hobby. For the last year or so, because of all this pressure, I've definitely been feeling the Metroidvania fatigue people talk about, even though exploration is like my favorite thing. It still is, even though I love that feeling. It's just depression. I mean, it might be mostly my unrelated depression, but you know, there's no denying I'm putting too many games into the machine, and I can't process them enough. I used to play like 3 or 4 a year, and one of those would be one of the greatest things I ever played in my entire life. But last year I played 10, and I played about 6 of them last spring. And there were really good ones in there that demanded a lot of energy that I didn't have to give them. It became a whole big mess before too long, and streams got stressful too, because I wanted to stream something sort of related to the main focus of the channel, but I couldn't do it after a while. I couldn't keep exploring and getting my item upgrades, even though that's what I like. I painted myself into a bit of a hole. Even having a really passionate moment like Portrait of Ruin, which is definitely one of my favorite games I've ever played, it didn't do much to remove the pressure from my Vania muscles. They're still really tired and achy. Every step I want to take as a creator right now involves calling up from the well of my relatively young bond with these games, and I can just see the pressure and the emotional exhaustion popping up all over them. It's pretty obvious. The need for opinions, the need for fresh ideas, the need to share every little thing. I'm a sharer, but it's affecting how the bonds have grown. They've been like a child under the limelight for all these years, basically. That said, this love definitely is very, very mighty. It just keeps getting deeper, honestly, as the years go on. More soul-shatteringly personal. Even funnier, I think. The whole thing is getting cosmically funny at this point. The opinions rise up, the feelings come, and I want to share them, but if we want a consistent harvest that could really manage the channel, I need to let this big old tree take its time growing. But I don't want the garden to sit empty while that's happening. Lately, I've been thinking about all kinds of games like Luna Nights and Axiom Verge, and I'm having that energy come back, and I think a great part of it is that after this hellish months on end of going back and forth about the focus of the channel, I finally felt like I could actually trust the idea of the variety channel, and I could finally take the pressure off of the Metroidvanias. It feels like admitting defeat. It feels bad. I love having a clear focus, and I really care in such a deep soul way about the grand Metroidvania research and sharing project, but it became clear that this channel being a home to exclusively that, and having my little internet persona be exclusively dedicated to that, wasn't really helping either of them grow. Folks often will tell me, just do what you love, just talk about what you like, but I really need concrete pillars, and I like to have plans, and I like to have a vision. I need a structure, otherwise I lose motivation, to be entirely honest. Also, some things, like Kirby, have been a little bit mixed on YouTube when I try them. Sometimes, like, stream viewers can be a bunch of awkward little kids, for example, if you go into the wrong game genre. Likewise, if I dove in headfirst to a new passion like Vocaloid, I would risk flooding the entire channel with Oomfies and Gotcha fans in such vast droves that there's nobody left to enjoy think pieces on the delicate color palette of Aria of Sorrow or whatever. What I really mean here is, I'm not just asking you to follow the new Mellovania for me, to come along for the ride of whatever whim I have each day. For me, there needs to be cohesion, there needs to be a vibe, there needs to be a meaning, there need to be strings that can connect every topic that I talk about in such a way that the people who enjoy one thing might feel the common energy between that and the other things and go, oh, I like that. That's just how I operate, to be honest. So, as the calendar starts in May and ends in May, for reasons that are known only to me, May 2025 to May 2026 will be Mellovania, the Garden. Or so I thought for the last 11 months. In reality, Bloom came to me during the final breakthrough moment that I've been writing here, and it captures my feeling really, really well. Metroidvanias are the grand, deeply rooted passion at the center of everything here. They capture everything I love. They're the best we've got, and now I need to enter a period of flourishing experimentation in order to find new friend plants to surround them with, and a cohesive vision for how I want the whole channel garden to look as those plants keep growing. It's going to be kind of like an audition period, I guess. That also makes it the beginning of asking you to sort of trust in a new sort of process where some plants might get replaced, some pieces of the channel might not be here forever. I reckon Metroidvanias and gaming as I've been presenting it will be here for just about eternity, but other things may serve their purpose for a couple years and then go. And it becomes like that axe handle replacing puzzle people talk about, where if you change every part, is it still the same thing? My hope right now is that rather than committing to a shortly lived channel that can only last as long as I'm passionate about exploration games, if I adopt this sort of soul of the axe method, or the ghost in the shell method if you're a freak, I hope that you can find something you like and the channel can grow with you a little bit as things get replaced with other things, but ultimately you're spiraling upwards towards more interesting, more meaningful flavors versus simply jumping around randomly or, again, being one beautiful singular flame that just goes out one day and is gone. I've decided to make this choice in this structure for longevity. This really all might sound silly to you because I've been bouncing around from my focus on actual Metroidvanias to just random gaming content to even just some other variety stuff that I vaguely, barely can connect back, but for me it's important. There's something deeper than just games that's already grown here in the last 3 years, and I want to be sure I keep that fire growing. I want to keep it moving forward. I don't really want to let it go out at all. So, yeah. It's a gaming channel. It's been built on years of me absorbing videos, but now it's going to be a variety channel. And I've played around in my head with covering everything from, like, the Soul Eater anime to emo music, from language learning to sour candy to the way rice grows in the paddies on my commute to work. to about pretty much everything, I think, at this point. I don't know how things are gonna look, but I'm asking all of the questions. Am I Mellovania because it's me, Mello, talking about Metroidvanias? Am I Mellovania because I am Mello and I fell into a vat of toxic Metroidvanias which changed my brain chemistry? Or perhaps a Mellovania is a laid-back exploration of life? Or maybe it's a mellow, relaxing talk about Metroidvanias. Or maybe it's just my name and Castlevania for reasons that are unknown even to me. I don't really know, but here's what I do know. I'm going to keep waxing poetic embarrassingly on the internet as I try to draw conclusions and spiritual depth from mundane and funny everyday life. I'm going to keep acquiring new skills and using them to explore new areas in every sense of the word. I'll be researching Metroidvanias very happily in the quiet of my laboratory, and only slow the tap on videos a little bit to keep them fresh. Everyone will be happier with the new company mixed in, once things settle in a couple years. Nothing about that's going anywhere. I love streaming, and I want to make my lives just kind of like a little atmospheric bar you can come to on the weekend to do cool handshakes with the regulars and probably bemoan the state of things for a while. There will be Celeste Month. There shall be memes. I'm probably going to start experimenting with something like amateur drawing streams or live music production one day, and maybe even just streams for chatting like I've been trying out lately. My humor will be strange. My thumbnails will be somewhat off-putting and amateurish and extremely self-indulgent. I will not desperately chase clicks. I'll level up skills, and I'll keep crafting a voice, which brings something good to your day. If any of those things went away, I'd be pretty sad. Of course, I might just, change course, or do an offshoot, just make like a Mellovania classic one day when this is nostalgic in 10 years and I just want a pure gaming channel, but until that day, it's spooky. I don't really know exactly how things are gonna look. I oscillate between super passionate and pretty awkward, which, from my experience in the content that my randomizer of the game of life has provided me so far, I get the feeling that that's okay. I think it's okay to be that way sometimes, so. Maybe you already knew all of this from my extremely random streams I've been doing lately, but this is what I'm trying out, and it's gonna take a while. This year will be a big, lush exploration of all kinds of different stuff. New content, new skills I want to grow. Just try everything and see what resonates. To be honest, I really hope that in a couple years I've narrowed it down again to like a small selection of things that I can do something meaningful with, that I can routinely work on. Some really good, maybe party members, if we consider the Metroidvanias to be the hero. I think I like that metaphor. I made it up on the spot, but as always, I'm in your care, and I'll be back at it. If it makes you feel any better, I have a bunch of really crunchy Metroidvania videos about literally like placing Hollow Knight and Animal Well in a context with other games. Like, it's super duper crunchy, very classic stuff, and the only reason it hasn't come out yet is just, I don't know, one evening I chose to hang out with friends instead of editing, so that'll be out soon. It'll be fun, but I feel like I'm getting back on course now, even if course is a bit weird. And with that, I leave you to the void. See you later. Come hang out this weekend, will ya?